Customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Have you ever felt like your doctor's office misses the mark on service? Let's face it, they're probably just as bad as your accountant and lawyer's office. In this episode, Chief Revolution Officer John DiJulius discusses the top 4 reasons why the majority of businesses from the medical, financial, and legal industries are so archaic in the client experience they deliver. Now here's your host of the Customer Service Revolution podcast, John DiJulius.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. I am John DiJulius, your host and Chief Revolution Officer of the DiJulius Group. In this week's episode, I want to talk to you about why doctors, lawyers, and accountants suck at service. One thing for sure, when customer service rankings come out, if you want to see where lawyers, doctors, accountants fall, keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. You will find them someplace near the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, internet providers, and airlines. Did you hear the story of a client who raved about their lawyer? Me neither. Before I go any further, I do want to point out that there are examples of companies from these industries that are good and even in some cases excellent at client experience. Some are our clients. Unfortunately, those are outliers. So why are these industries, financial, medical, and legal, so archaic in the client experience they deliver? Here are the top 4 key reasons. Number 1, abundance of technical education. Not only does it take a great deal of formal technical education leading up to getting licensed in these professions, but it doesn't ever stop. Their ongoing technical education is constant, which doesn't leave much time available to focus on strong business practices, building a strong corporate culture, and a world-class client or patient experience. Number 2, ego. Let's address the elephant in the room. These are highly educated professionals who can appear arrogant. Knowing their patients or clients need their expertise led to a growing, very healthy egos. Today, technical brilliance is a commodity. Over the last decade, we've seen a commoditization of professional knowledge. For decades, professionals were able to charge premium fees for their expertise, which was considered a rare and valuable skill. As a result, living in a world with access to the internet, the value of expertise in many professions has been dramatically reduced and commoditized. Much of what customers would have called an expert for in the past in private banking, consulting, or even engineering, say, can be found online in a few minutes today.
Would you like to lead an organization that hires and retains the top talent? Contact Claudia at thedijuliusgroup.com to learn how the DiJulius Group can help you build a tattoo-worthy culture.
Number 3, lack of soft skill training. It's not just the frontline employees who need to increase their service aptitude through more soft skill training. I have worked with hundreds of organizations and professionals such as accountants, financial advisors, consultants, lawyers, programmers, and doctors whose technical skills are a much higher level than their people skills. There is a void of human empathy and an inability to make an emotional connection or build rapport. These industries spend little to no time training anyone in their organization, technical and non-technical, on soft skills to increase their service aptitude. And finally, number 4, the need for non-technical senior leaders, primarily because of reasons 1 and 3, which was the abundance of technical education and the lack of soft skill training. 100% of their training and education was spent on their technical training. Lawyers, doctors, accountants are not the only ones that should be in charge of business operations. Yes, typically they are the entrepreneurs, the founder of the company, which is fine. I'm not just suggesting that they step down. However, oftentimes the entrepreneur usually is a technical geek and should be focusing on that side of the business. See Steve Jobs, part 1 at Apple. See why Elon Musk was ousted from his first 2 startups, Zip2 and PayPal. The best entrepreneurs and CEOs build their leadership teams with the skill sets they are lacking. Now look at who all the senior leaders and partners are in law firms, accounting firms, and medical practices. They are lawyers, accountants, and chief medical officers, doctors. See the pattern? See the disconnect? We need non-technical senior executives helping to run those businesses. These professions need to realize quickly that's not about a trade-off between IQ and EQ. It is the marriage of them. Thank you, Revolutionaries, for joining me for another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. We will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. Did you enjoy this episode? Consider leaving us a review. We value your feedback and love to hear how you're using the podcast in your organization. To hear more, be sure to subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for being part of the Customer Service Revolution.